Another type of a learning, we are talking about learning based, the explanation based learning. How you will define the explanation based learning? It is a machine learning approach where an AI system learns by analyzing the specific example here and connecting them to a previously acquired knowledge, essentially learning through explanation and the learning through the. So if we talk about the learning in the inductive learning, if we are talking about, if we differentiate with the inductive learning that rely on the statistical patterns, where we are talking about the large data sets are available, explanation-based learning utilizes domain-specific knowledge and the logical reasoning to generalize and create a new knowledge from training examples. So in a explanation-based learning, we are talking about the very much important is the role of a domain knowledge and how much the explanation and the reasoning is available here, and how the system is analyze a particular specific example to connect them to existing knowledge and then drive and generalize the knowledge of the rules based on the logical reasoning. That is important here. So learning from a specific example, we are saying that the explanation-based learning focused on understanding why a particular example is an instance of a concept rather than just identifying a common feature. So learning the general problem solving technique by observing or analyzing the human solution to a specific problem is the explanation-based learning. Explanation-based learning attempt to formulate the generalizations after observing only a single example here, and it was introduced by the Garland de Jong in 1981. So it definitely based on the hypothesis that an intelligent system can learn a general concept after observing only a single example or understanding when an example is member of a concept, can learn the essential properties of a concept here. So the explanation-based learning uses the prior knowledge to analyze or explain each training example in order to infer what properties are relevant to target function and which are irrelevant. So what do you mean by learning by generalizing the explanations here? So assume that given is a goal concept is there, some predicate calculus statements are there, training examples are given, domain theory inference rule, training example is giving us the facts, domain theory giving us the inference rules, and the operationality precision is given here. So given these four inputs, the task is to determine the generalization of a training example that is sufficient concept definition for the goal concept and that satisfy the operational criteria also. What do you understand by the operationality criteria, which require that the final concept definition we describe in terms of a predicates used to describe the training example. So here you can see the figure here. An explanation detailed proof of a goal has been given here. After learning, go directly from facts to a solution in the another diagram. We are showing this. And see this chart here, which gives us a domain theory, specialize to particular proof that X is P, and the example is given that X is P. Complex proof process will be done, explanation proof will be done, and the generalization will be done to generate a new domain rule which things like X are P, and then the trivial proof will be there that a Y is also a P if the Y is like a X here. So what is the history? Explanation-based learning may be viewed as a convergence of several distinct lines of research within a machine learning. And EBL has developed out of efforts to address each of the following problems. What following problems we are talking about here? Justified learning or justified generalization, chunking, operationalization, justified analogy. So till now we have seen the approaches of our explanation-based learning also. So what we can expect the input in the, let's talk about again the explanation-based learning. What inputs we can talk about here? The inputs can be any partial solution, which is available on the previous problem solution. And then for a specific goal and the problem solver will do the justification. After the generalization concept, the knowledge base will be get learned. So the environment for the explanation-based learning architecture, we require the two inputs, the specific goal and the partial solution should also be present here. So how the explanation-based learning system representation will work, it work on the problem solver, on the generalization and the operational pruner also. And the explanation-based learning, what you understand about the another important concept you need to know about the explanation-based learning with the explanation-based learning hypothesis. According to the explanation-based learning hypothesis, what we are expecting if a system has an explanation for how to tackle a comparable problem it faced previously, right? So it will utilize that explanation to handle the current problem more efficiently, right? So this hypothesis is founded on the concept that the learning with explanation is more successful than learning through the instances alone. So simply we are talking about if we need to determine the problem to be solved, we need to gather the samples here of previously solved problems that can be comparable to a current solution. And then we need to, or the system need to identify the connections between the previously solved problems and the new problem. And then extraction of the underlying principles should be done by the system and the rules, which can be used to solve the previously solved problem, which has been used to solve the previously solved problems, and apply the same extracted rules and the principle to solve the new problem. So where the explanation-based learning can be used in the medical diagnosis, how the explanation-based learning can be used in the medical diagnosis, how we can explain this, the explanation-based learning can be used in the medical diagnosis to determine the underlying causes of a patient's symptoms. So that it can find the trends, produce the more accurate diagnosis, analyzing the previously diagnosis instances here.